Space complexity, the other dimension of complexity. We've spent 6 videos building intuition for time complexity, how fast our code runs as input grows. This video covers the other axis, how much memory our code uses as input grows. Space complexity, the axis most engineers think about only when they need to. Data structures and algorithms foundations. Space complexity. A quick look back. Previously, we covered big O of time, how the work scales as n grows. The 6 classes, O of 1, log n, n log n squared, 2 to the n. We learned to read complexity straight from code. We covered the tricky parts that trip people up. Today, big O of space, how the memory scales as n grows. Same notation, same 6 classes, different axis. Time and space are independent, and both matter in production. The point that's hardest to internalize, a function can be fast and still run out of memory. Time and space are 2 different axes of cost. You can optimize one without optimizing the other. Sometimes you have to trade one for the other. Knowing both gives you a complete picture of your algorithm's behavior. Why does memory matter so much? Time gets all the attention in interviews and tutorials. But memory has its own cliff edges in production, and when you hit one, you usually find out the hard way. Out of memory, the most visible kind of failure. Your process tries to allocate more memory than the operating system has available. Linux activates what's called the OM killer, out of memory killer, and the OS stops your process. The container restarts. State is lost. Users see errors. This is a real production scenario engineers handle every day. Stack overflow, recursion that goes too deep. The default call stack is small, typically a few megabytes, which holds maybe a few thousand stack frames in Python. Recurse deeper than that and you crash. Stack overflow is just stack shaped out of memory. Hidden copies, a line that looks like one operation actually allocates a fresh array. Inside a hot loop, that's a lot of garbage collection. Your CPU isn't doing work, it's spending cycles allocating and freeing memory. Performance suffers without an obvious cause. The principle, fast code that crashes, is still broken code. Time fast and space broken is a real failure mode, especially as your service scales. The mature engineer thinks about both axes. Here's the good news. Big O of space works exactly like big O of time. Same notation, same simplification rules, same 6 classes. You don't have to learn a new framework. If you understand big O of time, you mostly understand big O of space. The only difference, instead of counting operations that grow with n, you count bytes that grow with n. Allocations instead of executions. Memory instead of CPU. Same framework, different unit. O of one space is flat. The function uses the same amount of memory no matter the input. O of log n space grows tiny, barely visible. O of n space grows linearly, bytes proportional to input size. The patterns are familiar from time complexity. Apply the same intuitions, just count memory instead of operations. Before we count, let's talk about where memory actually lives. Every allocation goes to one of 2 places in your process, the stack or the heap. Knowing which is essential for analyzing space complexity correctly. The stack function calls. Local variables, recursion frames. The stack is small, typically a few megabytes per thread. It's released automatically when a function returns, no garbage collection needed. And if you fill it up, usually with too deep recursion, your program crashes immediately with a stack overflow error. The stack is fast but tight. The heap arrays, lists, dictionaries, objects, anything dynamically allocated. The heap is large, typically gigabytes, limited by your system RAM and operating system policy. It's released by garbage collection in languages like Python or Java, or by manual free in languages like C. If you fill it up, your program crashes with an out-of-memory error. The heap is bigger but slower. When we count space complexity, we count both stack frames from recursion plus heap allocations from data structures. The total memory footprint is the sum. If your function recurses to depth n and also allocates an array of size n, your space complexity is O of n, but you're paying it twice over. First class, O of one space. Constant space, no extra memory grows with n, only a few fixed variables. The most efficient space class possible. Here's the canonical example. Reverse an array in place. Two index variables, low and high. Swap the elements at low and high. Move them inward. Repeat until they meet in the middle. Done, eh? Just two index variables. That's the entire extra memory. It doesn't matter if the array is 10 items or 10 million items, the function's memory footprint is the same. Constant overhead, the term to remember. In place means O of one space. The data gets rearranged where it already lives. We don't allocate a second array, a second hash set, or a second anything. In place algorithms are often the most memory efficient solution to a problem, worth knowing when memory is constrained. Second class, O of n space. Linear space, the memory grows linearly with the input. Every doubling of n doubles the memory required. Here's the canonical example. The duplicate finder we wrote back in the big O variance video. A set called scene. For each x in R, check if x is in scene. If yes, return true. Otherwise, add x to scene and continue. The scene set can grow up 2 items once every element of the input has been added at n equal 1 million. That's about 1 million entries in the hash table. Real memory, tens of megabytes, depending on the language and the type of items. Worth it though. We traded O of n squared time for O of n time by paying O of n extra space. The classic space-time trade-off. Less time, more memory. Or more time, less memory. Most non-trivial optimizations involve trading one axis for the other. Knowing both axes is what lets you make the trade consciously. Third class, O of log n space. Logarithmic space, this one shows up with recursion that halves the input each call, the same pattern that gives us logarithmic time. Recursive binary search. The function takes low, high, and the target. Each recursive call halves the search range, going either left or right, but never both. So the recursion tree is actually a single chain, log base 2 of n levels deep. Each call uses one stack frame. The recursion depth is log base 2 of n, same as the time complexity. So the stack holds at most log base 2 of n frames at any moment. That's the space complexity. Logarithmic. Worth knowing, the iterative version of binary search, written with a while loop instead of recursion, uses O of one space. Same algorithm, same time complexity, less stack when you're space constrained and the algorithm is naturally iterative. Prefer iteration over recursion to save the stack frames. A trap to watch for. Linear recursion uses O of n space on the call stack, even though it's only one call per step. People often forget about this. The stack adds up. The classical factorial. Compute n times factorial of n minus 1. Simple, elegant, no branching. Just one recursive call per level. Looks like it should be cheap. But here's the catch. Time is O of n, yes, linear. Space is also O of n, because all n stack frames have to stay alive simultaneously. The deepest call has to return before the second deepest can return, and so on back up to the original caller. N frames at the same time, waiting on each other. Factorial of 10 uses 10 stack frames. No problem. Factorial of 10,000 uses 10,000 frames. Getting tight, factorial of 100,000, stack overflow. The program fails before time complexity even matters. Python's default recursion limit is 1,000 frames. Deep linear recursion in Python crashes long before any algorithmic limit. If you need deep recursion, convert it to an explicit loop that turns the call stack into a heap allocated loop counter. Or in functional languages, rewrite as tail recursion if the compiler can optimize it away. The principal linear recursion costs memory you don't see in the code. Hidden allocations, some operations look like one step but quietly allocate O of n memory internally. These are the trickiest space bugs to find because the source code doesn't look expensive. Here's a classic example. Return the first half of an array using slicing. One line looks like one operation. But ret:(k) in Python copies the slice. It doesn't return a view into the original array. It allocates a fresh array of size n over 2 and copies the elements over. Inside a hot loop, that's a lot of garbage. Performance suffers from memory pressure, even though the CPU work looks small. The same syntax behaves very differently across programming languages. In Python, R:(k) copies. In Go, the same slice expression returns a view into the underlying array, O of one extra space. In Rust, taking a reference with &ir, range k borrows the data, also O of one extra space, with compile time guarantees about aliasing. Same syntax, widely different space cost. Read your language's documentation carefully, especially the standard library types. The space cost of common operations is rarely obvious from the syntax alone. This is one of the most language-dependent parts of being a working engineer. Most optimizations are a trade. Pay more in one axis to save more in the other. The space-time trade-off is the most fundamental tension in algorithm design. Let me walk through 3 common examples. Memoization, pay O of in space, save exponential time. The classical fix for naive Fibonacci. Store each computed result in a cache. Next time you need that result, look it up instead of recomputing. Trade memory for speed. Hash set lookups. Pay O of n space, turn O of n squared time into O of n time. The duplicate finder pattern. The fundamental trick behind most make this faster interview answers and most production optimizations. Pre-computed tables, pay O of n space upfront, sometimes more, and get O of one queries forever after. Lookup tables, indexes in databases, materialize views, all the same pattern, upfront memory cost. Lifetime speed benefit. Knowing which trade you're making, that's the engineer's job. Asking what am I paying and what am I getting before reaching for an optimization is the difference between deliberate engineering and cargo culting techniques you saw on a blog. Here's where we are in the series. Previously in Big O of Time, the 6 classes, tricky parts practice, the complete toolkit for reasoning about how fast code runs. This video, Big O of Space, stack versus heap. In place versus auxiliary, hidden allocations, the space-time trade-off, the complete toolkit for reasoning about how much memory code uses. Coming up, algorithm design paradigms, divide and conquer, greedy algorithms, dynamic programming, backtracking the patterns that show up across every algorithm worth knowing. We've built the analysis foundation. Now we build the design intuition. Memory is the treasury and guardian of all things. Cicero. He was talking about human memory, the storehouse of knowledge and wisdom. He wasn't talking about RAM, but every engineer who has had to debug an out-of-memory error in a live service understands the feeling. Memory is the treasury, and protecting it is part of the job. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you finally see space complexity as clearly as you see time complexity, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell me about the memory bug that took you the longest to find, or the algorithm where you most clearly traded space for time. More on algorithm design paradigms is coming in future episodes in this playlist. See you there.